Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending today. Today I'll be hosting a webcast alongside my longtime colleague here, William Bean. Additionally, today we're being joined by Mike Rendell and Patrick Aiello, both from PTC, to assist with questions that might arise towards the end of the presentation. So a few housekeeping items to note. This webcast will be recorded and available for replay on our website. If you have any technical difficulties, please send a chat message to Stephanie or to WebEx directly. And please feel free to submit your questions via the Q&A box, and we will address as many as we can that time allows at the end of the webcast. Great. So today's agenda will kind of go as follows. We're going to go over who MRC is, what the subscription license is, subscription versus perpetual, who a good fit for subscription licensing is, and then just some additional information. And like I said, we'll wrap up with some questions and answers. All right, so let's dive right into it. So MRC, as a PTC reseller, I've been with MRC now for 5 years, handling Mathcad, Creo, Arbortext, and the formerly Relics windshield quality solution. And then my colleague William Bean has been actually with the company for 8 years doing the same product line. We've been a partner of PTC's for over 10 years. We started as solely a support group handling maintenance renewals and support renewals and reactivating customers who had been off for a longer period of time. We had great success with that and were quickly brought on as a full partner. So now we currently work with over 26,000 companies all over North America, and we can be found working with companies in every industry. Today, as we go through this presentation, I want to let all of you know that anything you see or that we talk about, we can have up and active for you in less than 72 hours. Unlike other vendors, here at MRC, we're centrally located, so this allows us to increase the speed of business in response to anything that you might need or any issues that arise. All right, that being said, I'm going to flip this over to Bill, and he's going to walk you through a little information on what a subscription is. Take it away, Bill.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Maddie. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today on our webcast. By now, all of you have likely received several emails or notifications about the new subscription licensing offer that PTC is currently putting out for the products. Main goal today is to help everyone understand what subscription licensing is and why it would be a good fit within your respective companies. It's been almost a year now since PTC officially came out with the subscription licensing as an option, but more often than not, I have customers asking me, well, what is it? My general response to this is, well, it's a license you pay an annual fee for, yet this really doesn't explain everything that the subscription can entail. And for many of you hearing this, it probably leads you to think, well, then don't I already have a subscription license since I've been paying support every year? And if you're thinking that, then you're not alone. Speaking from personal experience, this is almost exactly how all my conversations went for the first few months that we started selling the subscription. But as conversations progress, we start and we separate the concept of subscription from the software, from the way the software is licensed. We can start to see what this new model is really all about. The practice of subscription has been around for decades in many forms, whether it's the monthly magazines of yesteryear or new instances such as Netflix, when people have been paying monthly or annually to consume what we want and need until we no longer have that want or need. This is now rapidly being adopted by software companies of all sorts, not just PTC. You have household names like Microsoft and Adobe now offering their flagship softwares on subscription terms. And why are they doing this? A lot of it has to do with how we as consumers are always looking for the best and cheapest ways to fulfill our needs or wants. The problem that the companies are facing with this is that our society is ever-changing. These needs and wants change at such a quick rate that the static products and software no longer can succeed as a long-term solution. Again, take Netflix, for example. Prior to the online subscription viewing of movies, the only way you could view a movie at home was to purchase it and hope it would be a good, as the reviews led you to believe. And unless that movie is the greatest of all time and you can't get enough of it, chances are you watched it once and now it's just cluttering up your shelves until you decide to discard it. For the cost of that one movie, you could have paid for probably a month or two of Netflix and watched a dozen movies or so. By doing this, you've increased your chances of finding one or more movies that you'd enjoy watching versus the one physical movie you purchased, again, at a premium that you may never view again. It's the same way of thinking that has found its way into the software world. In my opinion, PTC is adopting it very well. There are several of you on the call today that I've had the pleasure of speaking with over the years that I've said something along the lines of, what we have for software is great, but the cost to expand is too great when we don't have the demand from our customers to justify it. In many cases, yeah, this is probably true. It's hard to make a case to spend upwards of $5K on a product that may just sit on your shelf or could probably turn out a project in 3 or 4 months with and never touch again. If you have that one customer you ask for something outside the realm of your current software capabilities, the customer is important to you, so you look to expand, but when you only have this one project to offset the cost of the expansion, it's hard to see where your profit for your company might reside. This is where subscription can become your secret weapon. PTC has come out with cost-friendly pricing to add many of the extension functionality offered that would help you in the situations such as these. Now I'm going to pass it back to Matt, who can start to explain the differences between the licensing options of subscription and perpetual. Matt?
Thanks, Billy. I like that analogy with Netflix. It's a good way to look at it. All right, so subscription versus perpetual. I'm just going to take a minute to kind of go over what defines a license as perpetual first, and then we'll go ahead and look at the differences with subscription. So a perpetual license is what most people on the call who own software are going to be familiar with. It's a license with an initial cost upfront to purchase it with an optional annual fee for support. So again, that's the large upfront cost, and then after that, there's an annual support fee. But essentially, so with the perpetual license, if you were to go off support, you still essentially own rights to use the software anytime. So you maintain that ongoing access. There is no cost to use the license, and PTC will always provide you with a new license file for your purchase. And as long as your machine, as long as basically your hardware doesn't outdate your software capabilities, you don't have to invest in the program. So technically, anyone out there running Windows 98 machine can still be running Pro E 2000i or 2000i squared. So as I mentioned, support is optional with a perpetual license. It provides you with things like access to new releases, program updates, our date code releases, bug fixes, technical assistance, and for some of our product lines, I'll provide you with a home use license. That's a second license that can be used off-site. So with the perpetual license, if you chose not to keep your support active, the license will still work. You just lose access to all the support benefits. Now, many of you might be thinking, all right, well, what if we drop support and then pick it up later? There is a penalty to go without the support and then to have it renewed. Essentially, what we do is you pay for support from the day you lapsed to 1 year out from the day you want to purchase. So you're off for 2 years, so you essentially have to pay both those years back plus the year forward to provide coverage. So that, in a nutshell, is the perpetual license. A subscription license, or the pay-to-use license, is a bit different. The cost of the license up front is much less. And actually, it holds true. The ROI on that is about 5 years after purchase that the annual cost of the subscription license balances out to a perpetual. So another nice thing to note is with the subscription license, the annual cost of that subscription, it includes the support. So you'll always, with a subscription, you'll always have access to the latest release. You'll always have access to technical assistance, and along with all the other benefits of support, whether it be the discounts, the home use license, etc. And of course, the biggest difference, though, with the two is with subscription, if you choose not to continue that after your first year of service, you lose access to the program. You will still maintain all your files, all the data you've created. You just won't have access to, you won't have an active license to run Creo or Mathcad, whatever product it may be. I guess the next thing you see here, like support, is if we were to go off for 2 years, let's say you have a subscription license and you decide that, the work isn't picked up, so you're going to drop this for maybe 2 years. And then you decide to reactivate your license because, you got a new customer. With the perpetual, you would have to pay those 2 years of missed support. With a subscription, you just simply renew it. You pay the current price to get a new license, and you're off and running. At that point, you'd have access to most legacy versions, and along with any new version that's come out. So now that we kind of see the difference between the two, I'd like to just go over a little bit of, who can really benefit from this. Understanding subscription, you can see that there is a huge advantage in the real world. Let's say you were to pick up a project that needs 2 additional engineers for the next year. You could go ahead and pick up 2 new subscription licenses for less than the cost of 1 perpetual license. And then after that project's done, you can simply stop paying them. You can drop them and go back to the 1 license you had before. Let's say you've wondered what advanced assembly or service design is like. With a subscription, you can pick up that tool for a year, add it to your toolbox, and see if it actually benefits you. You do your own analysis on, is having flexible modeling benefiting me this year? Is it saving me enough time to pay for itself? So another thing that we've seen with our customers is anyone who's running a job shop out there or looking for their own customers to design for, having subscription at your fingertips allows you to advertise to any customer you want, not just the ones that you've already acquired a tool set for. In other words, you can think of it now that you have access to all of PTC's tools at a moment's notice with low overhead to get into. Let's say, for example, that you run into a customer, you've had some experience with our simulation software, but you just had a hard time coming with the clients to cover the purchase, around $6,000. That's a lot to maintain to be able to pay for that. But now let's say that you advertise that you've got this experience or that you can do the analysis work. You get 1 or 2 people who are interested. Now getting into the program at $2,000 gets you is a quick return on investment. It makes it easier to get into, and you'll make more profit off of it. So as you can see, there really isn't anyone who can't benefit from subscription in one way or another. So, Bill, would you mind going over some additional benefits of subscription and kind of go through our highlight list here?
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Thank you again for that. Yeah, so some of the additional benefits that we've briefly touched on and some that we haven't. So first and foremost, what subscription is going to do is it's going to give you flexibility with your software now. So Perpetual software, that's what we've been selling. It's kind of been the staple of software companies up until now. But really, Perpetual, it's cost prohibitive for you to expand or try out something to market to new customers, as Matt was saying. And then with Perpetual, you're just kind of stacking on and adding to your subscription, your support costs going forward as well. You're never really able to get rid of something once you've acquired it to your licenses. What subscription is going to do is going to give you that flexibility. So this year, say you have customers that you want to be doing some sort of an advanced assembly or large assemblies for, you pick that up. That project runs out. Next year you say, hey, I want to try doing some sort of analysis. You drop the advanced assembly, you pick up some analysis, and you just kind of can move and fit your needs as you feel. So that's one huge benefit that subscription is going to be giving customers now going forward with the software. It's also going to give you some cost control. Like Matt was saying, with the Perpetual licenses, they're great. Obviously, you own them. What you currently have is great. Support's good. You keep paying it. But if you let it lapse or, projects fall off, you don't use the software for a while, you try to get back into it, you never really know what the cost is going to be or, what programs there are for you to be getting active again. With subscription, use it, pay for it. You got it for the year. If you stop using it, stop paying for it. Worst case, you lose the access to the software, so you get another project or need for the software. Pick up a new subscription, you're going to roughly know the price going in before you even start looking at it. It's also going to be good for customers such as yourselves who already have the existing software. So we're not discrediting what you have. Obviously, what you have is great, but using it as a base. So if you have, say, for example, a base Creo license and you want to keep paying support, that's great for you. But again, the subscription is going to give you that flexibility now to look into expanding your avenues to your customers so you can add on, drop through subscription the different modules, or if you were to add on additional users for projects or start expanding groups within your companies, you can pick up additional licenses on the subscription side that won't have a bearing on your annual support for your Perpetual licenses. That, again, you can always drop if anything were to happen or usage changes down the road. Subscription's also going to give you quick way to see a return on investment. Again, if it's project-based especially, you're trying to pick up a project for something you don't currently have the software needs for, it's a lot easier to pick up, say, a module at $2,200 for the year subscription versus $5,000 or $6,000 on the perpetual side. Right there you can see the cost advantages for if it's project-based, where you'd be seeing a profit versus a loss or neutral gains. And then the last thing I'd like to mention is regarding support. So perpetual licenses, again, you own them. There is an optional support that you can pay every year for it. With subscription, the support's built into the year of subscription, so you still get all the same tech support, website tools, all the benefits that you get with the subscription or the support for your perpetual licenses. However, going forward, as the subscription licenses start growing, support's going to start adding features specific to subscription licenses only. So for example, with Creo, on the subscription licenses, you'll be getting the Creo, the advisor, so you'd be able to start tracking usage and such with the Creo that you don't have as a support feature for the perpetual licenses. So you'll be seeing other things such as that being added over the course of the next few months and years as subscriptions start building and being built out by PTC. So those, again, some of the benefits that we just wanted to make sure that we could highlight here for subscription. And I guess before we wrap up and go to Q&A, I just wanted to open it up to Patrick real quick, see if there's anything you might want to add or add to the benefits for subscription for the customers that are on the call today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making time available for me. I do appreciate it, and I appreciate the chance to have an opportunity to discuss the subject with MRC and MRC clients. So yeah, I think you sort of brought up a couple of good points. One is we have this performance advisor tool available in Creo, and with the subscription offer, customers get access to greater features within that tool. And as that tool gets additionally developed, those features will be growing for subscription customers only. Some of those features won't be available for perpetual customers. In addition, as we sort of mature, you know, we're into the subscription for about a year. As we mature as a subscription company generally, across the product lines, we're going to start seeing kind of differentiated offerings. So different bundles of products, whether it's within the Creo family or across families, that you'll start to see getting released into the marketplace at sort of attractive prices and attractive price points. So it's something that the company is actively working at and actively, you know, planning on in terms of future releases that are going to be coming out, and I think that's going to be another great benefit for subscription customers. So adoption of subscription has been very, very high. Customers like to buy this way. They like to consume this way. Your point around sort of low cost to entry, right? If you want to pick up another extension and try and offer a slightly different service to customers, it's a much lower cost to entry than having to go out and buy a software package. So it's been warmly and widely received in the marketplace. And again, this is why we're not the first company to go into subscription. Adobe and Microsoft and several others are a couple of years ahead of us, but they found the same experience. We're having the same experience they had, which is customers really like to consume this way. So thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Great. Thanks, Patrick. All right, guys. So we get a couple questions here that were pre-submitted by some customers, and as we go through, please feel free again to input any questions you have in the Q&A box. All right, we'll go from there. Great. So the first question that we received was, what happens to the many perpetual licenses that we've already purchased in the past, and how will those be handled? So it would take this as a customer who has several licenses that they've already purchased. So for perpetual licenses in this case, you will still own them. You can continue to pay the annual support. However, at the moment, the perpetual licenses that have been off support for a significant amount of time, we actually have a program to allow you to trade those in for subscription license. So the way that works, if you got your perpetual license and you're sticking with that, that's great. We don't want to take those away from you. If that's the way you want to work, absolutely, we support it. For customers who have paid into the system before and have purchased the perpetual license but just have maybe fallen off the support wagon, Well, between now and September 30th, we have a program that we can convert that perpetual license to a subscription at a significantly discounted rate. So if anyone's out there sitting on a couple licenses that they might have, would be interested in taking advantage of that, please let us know. We'd be happy to go over the pricing, the cost, and the benefits in more detail for, case by case. All right, another question we saw come in was, how will this affect Mathcad licenses? Will these also become a subscription license? Bill, I know you were pretty close on this one. Do you want to take this?
Sure. So Mathcad, just like the rest of the product line that PTC offers, still being offered perpetually. It's available as Mathcad has the ability to be sold as a locked license or a floating license, and that's true to subscription as well. So Mathcad is available on subscription basis as well as perpetual basis, and as Matt was saying, it's a good way to, if you have additional users coming on, we can always go into what the pricing and everything would be for you versus adding perpetual licenses for the subscription. But yeah, so Mathcad is available as a subscription going forward as well as perpetual. Matt?
Great. All right, let's see. The next one here was, how will this change how we manage the licenses via the PTC portal? Will a subscription license be attached to a host ID, and will a customer only be able to install one at a time? All right, so licenses will be managed and handled the same as the perpetual. Whether it be the locked version or the floating license, it will determine, how the license is affected, but it will be the same as the perpetual. So the host IDs will be the same. Attachment to machines will be the same. The license file, essentially, it comes built in with the expiration in comparison that corresponds to your subscription. So it's similar, I guess, anyone out there who might have experience with a home use license, it's going to work very similar to that. All right. Billy, did that make sense?
Yeah, it seemed to make sense.
All right, let's see. Okay, here's a good one for you. I currently have a perpetual license. Is it cheaper for me to go to an annual subscription or continue paying the support annually?
That is a good question. And so if you are currently active on support for your perpetual license, it's priced right now. The support is support for perpetual licensing is cheaper than the annual subscription. Again, you've made the investment on the perpetual software, been supporting it, so obviously you want to make sure that it's cost effective for you to continue paying for the investment that you've made. Again, the pricing comes into play where subscription is probably something we should be looking at for your account when you've been off support for an extended period of time, or again, if you're looking at adding additional users, the upfront cost for subscription is vastly cheaper than the cost for perpetual investment on a new license. So if you have an existing license, you've been paying on support, don't think that you're getting kind of the short end of the stick in paying the support going forward, that the subscription is going to be cheaper for you. It's dollar-wise, no. Again, your investment, and we honor that and respect the fact that you've been supporting it this long. But again, if you wanted to look at pricing, we'd be happy to go over it with you and look at what the benefits would be. But yeah, it would be more so if you were expired on support or looking to add additional licenses where the pricing for the annual subscription would be better for you than the support. Matt, I guess we just got another question in, and I guess I'll just run with it real quick since it's kind of on the same wavelength. Question here is, subscription licensing sounds like it's going to be a one-year period. Will there be shorter periods, monthly, quarterly, et cetera? So subscription right now, the shortest term that we're offering is one-year term. That is paid up front for the year. We can extend out to a 3-year period on the subscriptions right now, again, paid up front for that, but there isn't a process or an option right now to do anything quarterly or monthly or even bi-monthly or anything shorter than a year. Whether that changes in the future, only time will tell, but the offering right now is a minimum of 1 year on the subscription, and again, we can go up to 3 years if you wanted to look at that as an option as well.
Great. Yeah, and that seems to be a more and more common current. Just to touch on that, it's that nice 3-year deal. Here at MRC, we really appreciate that kind of business because it locks that price in for you. you don't suffer any changes in price, or and then it's off your plate for 3 years. All right, and then looks like another question came in, and it says that they have Prime 3.0, don't use it consistently, and just curious as far as how the subscription can be a benefit. So based on that, I would say 2 things. One, it would be, I'd be happy to connect with you offline to look at exactly, whether you still have support, what version you're on, and do a cost-benefit analysis about moving to a subscription. But the other quick benefit for that is a subscription of e-learning. If you're, not using it all the time and you want to make sure you're up to date or brushed up on what's available in Prime, and make sure you're taking advantage of a lot of the new features, the new solve blocks and things. If you haven't seen those, check out some of our other webcasts. They're all right online. But we sell subscriptions of the e-learning license for just a few $100s for the year. Pick up one of those, and now you have access to, for really short money, you'll have access to the entire library of educational, demonstration, and tutorial-based learning that is really made Mathcad the premier math software for colleges. So, in short order, you could get a quick benefit from that. All right. Well, it looks like that's about all the questions, and I know we're up on time anyways. So please feel free, if you do have any more questions, submit them here. Reach out to Stephanie via the webinar host, or reach out to one of the MRC sales reps. And Billy, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I think that we're good. I guess before we wrap, Patrick, if there's anything you'd like to add, otherwise I think we're good over here.
Yeah, I guess just one last point. So some of the Creo packages, right, the essential packages, also do come with e-learning kind of bundled into the package. And as I said earlier, I think you'll see that as we mature in the subscription space, we'll be bundling both more software and more support features within those subscriptions moving forward. So thanks for the time again, and I appreciate everyone's interest. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all for your time today. I appreciate it. And yeah, best of luck going forward, guys. Thank you.